What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. This is my betting breakdown video for UFC Seattle. We have Song Yadong going against Henry Cejudo in what has to be one of the most cursed cards in UFC history. I mean, go to Tapology, look at the canceled bouts, and you'll see like 50 canceled fights. Like half the card is short notice replacements. A lot of short notice fights put together last second, like the Vanderford fight, which is put together like Tuesday. So it's a card that has certainly taken some hits, but I'm looking forward to it. We got some fun fights coming up on Saturday. From a betting perspective, I'll be honest, I hate this card. I'll always be honest. Whether I like the card or not, from a betting perspective, I don't. I think it's a very sketchy card. Not only are half the fighters short notice, but a lot of red flags, a lot of things, surrounding these fighters that we'll talk about it. But yeah, keeping it light this week, keeping it short and sweet. Had a really good week last week, and I don't want to come in here this week and just make mistakes and bet on some of these fights that could really go either way. So going to try to navigate through some of these fights here before we get into it. If you guys could please do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment. All three of those things go a very long way. If you want to go the extra mile, support me more, or get more content, check out dfsbythenumbers.com. That's where you'll find out all my content, or find all my content there. This week, I have 4 or 5 bets thus far, looking at maybe adding a parlay. If I do add anything, of course, it'll be on the website, and then I'll also pin it in the comments. I do plan on adding maybe a parlay for this week, but right now, only a couple bets, and we'll get into it here. All right. Starting with the first fight of the card. Oh boy. We have Modestas Bukauskas going against Rafael Cerqueira. Bukauskas minus 270, Rafael Cerqueira plus 230. So I've used this analogy a couple times throughout my YouTube career, and this reminds me of that South Park episode where you have the giant douche and the turd sandwich. And in this case, we'll have Bukauskas, who is probably the giant douche in this case, this circumstance. Rafael Cerqueira is the turd sandwich, right? Both these guys, not big fans of. Bukauskas, this guy's never looked minus 300 against anybody, I don't think, has ever in his entire career. This guy doesn't throw anything. The durability is very questionable. Went to decision with Zach Palga, arguably lost that fight, went life and death with Marcin Prachnio, couldn't knock him out. Not a big fan of Bukauskas. As far as Cerqueira, complete unknown. We know nothing about this guy, right? So yeah, Bukauskas, the giant douche, Cerqueira, the turd sandwich. But listen, the giant douche is minus 300. What sense does that make? I think Cerqueira is live here. I do. I have a half unit shot on Rafael Cerqueira to win the fight in the first or second round at plus 480. Do I love the bet? No, but at the same time, Bukauskas has been finished 5 times. Cerqueira, this guy has power. He's a BJJ black belt. He's dangerous. I think Cerqueira is a live dog. So Cerqueira was plus 305 at the beginning of the week. When I first looked into the fight, it's gotten smashed, and I think a lot of that has to do with Bukauskas shouldn't be minus 300 against anybody. So yeah, could Bukauskas win? Yes. But I just struggle to see a scenario where he goes out there and looks minus 300 against anybody ever. So I'm taking a half unit shot on Cerqueira. It's disgusting, and I feel terrible about it. I'm just being honest, but looking to fade the chin of Bukauskas. Next, we got Nursultan Rusov going against Eric McConico, and this is how I'm seeing the fight play out. So I think it's a minute winner versus moment winner fight. McConico, I really don't trust the durability. He's been knocked out 2 times, I believe both early on in the fight, right? Rusov, he's long, rangy, big, has power. I think a Rusov first or second round knockout is very much in play. If, however, this fight goes the distance, which a spot I was looking at this week was the decision only for McConico, which is horrible. It's like minus 125, but that just goes to show you that if this fight does go the distance, McConico, I think, is going to be the minute winner. I think he's going to be the higher volume striker. He trains at a great gym, an MMA lab. I think he can win minutes on top with the wrestling. Rusov, not only in the Buckley fight, but outside the UFC, against bums, taken down by a gust of wind, can lose minutes off of his back. So I think it's either Rusov by knockout, or I think it's McConico by decision. Rusov by knockouts plus 135, KO 1-2 could also be a look. But I think McConico by decision's a spot that holds some value this week. If that durability holds up, I think he could win the fight. So I took a half unit shot on Eric McConico, round 3 or decision at plus 500. And like I said, if he doesn't get knocked out, I think that's super live. So yeah, I'm taking a shot on the dog. I think he's a very live dog here, McConico, as long as that chin holds up. But we'll see. Next, we got Varatinikov. And it just goes to show you how sketchy this card is. Like, my first 2 bets are on Eric McConico and Rafael Cerqueira. God help me. God help me. Moving on, we got Varatinikov going against Vanderford. It's a pass, man. I mean, Pickham's right. Like, if Vanderford's able to get the takedowns, probably wins the fight. If not, he probably gets knocked out. I was looking at Varatinikov by knockout. I wanted plus 300, not getting it. Easy pass there. Fight could go either way. Basaran, Simone. Basaran minus 210, Simone plus 180. Simone's taken a lot of money throughout the week. Was looking at the Simone plus 3.5 at minus 140. I think that's a good look. The only thing that scares me is a lot of people are on it, and it seems kind of too good to be true. I'm staying away from this fight. Simone he hasn't looked himself the last 3 fights. If this was the Ricky Simone of 2020, 2021, yeah, I'd probably bet him here, but he's just looked off to me, the last couple fights. So we'll see. I think Basaran probably wins, and it's probably competitive. Abdul-Malik going against Nick Klein. So I was looking at the odds. Abdul-Malik is currently a minus 1,500 favorite, which makes him one of the biggest favorites in UFC history, which is definitely terrifying, but I think he wins by first or second round knockout. I don't have anything bet on this fight yet, but I think a great parlay piece for this card is the either under 1.5 around minus 185, or the fight won't start round 3. I see best price at like minus 315. So I'll probably be throwing that fight won't start round 3 into a parlay. If I do add it, it'll be pinned down in the comments. But I think it's a great parlay piece this week. Some type of violence in the Mansour fight. I think it's a car crash. I think it ends early. If you're on the Klein side, I saw the Klein submission at plus 1,600. I think that's how he wins, but I don't think that hits. Ibo Aslan, Ivan Cutelaba. Oh, I mean, it's a sketchy fight because that's an Ivan Cutelaba fight, and all of his fights are sketchy. You don't know what to expect. Ivan Cutelaba, the most consistent fighter, or the most inconsistent fighter in the UFC. Sometimes he'll show up, he'll look like $1 million. Sometimes he'll show up and he'll look like the worst fighter ever. So, yeah, I love violence here. I love the fight doesn't go to decision. It's minus 350. I'm probably going to parlay that. I could see myself parlaying the Cutelaba Aslan fight doesn't go with Abdul-Malik, Nick Klein. Fight won't start round 3. Hoping that comes out to like minus 150. I can see myself putting like 1.5 units on that parlay. So yeah, I like violence here. In terms of picking a side, good luck. I mean, I think this fight can go either way. I think it comes down to whether or not Aslan's able to stuff these takedowns. If he is, probably takes off Cutelaba's head. If Cutelaba is able to establish the wrestling, the grappling, he probably makes it look easy. It's one of those fights where I feel like the winner looks minus 300 either way. So I would not be laying minus 175 on Aslan personally, but he could very well look like a big favorite if he's able to stuff the takedowns. I lean his way, but I like violence more than anything. I'd rather play the fight won't start round 3 at probably the same price than lay that chalk on Aslan. So yeah, fight won't start round 3. If fight doesn't go, another violent spot for me. Fili Costa, frustrating fight for me on this one because I taped this fight on Sunday. And I saw Costa at plus money, but I saw like a ton of people betting Fili. I thought that, maybe I could just wait. And no, the line flipped and it's kind of stayed around minus 120 for Costa all week. At that point, I'm fine with passing. I mean, it's a pick'em fight. It's probably going to look a pick'em. I do lean the Costa way. He's younger, more durable. I like the striking, the volume, the tools he has on the feet, but it's going to be a close fight. I think it goes to decision, and I don't really see a need to get involved with a pick'em type fight. I did last week with the Hill-Souza fight, and it looked like a pick'em. Arguably, Hill lost the fight. I feel very lucky to have the judges throw one my way, but I can kind of see the same thing here. Like a pick'em, don't really see the need to get involved. If Costa got back to plus money, I'd probably jump in, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. Alonzo Menifield, Julius Walker, nothing here. The under 1.5 is minus 105. I'm going to if that gets the plus money, I might take a shot. Just because when Walker's winning fights, it's in the first round, round and a half. Same thing with Menifield. When Menifield's winning fights, it's typically early. So I don't mind the under 1.5. It's not something I love because I could see like this being a cage pushy type fight. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm surprised Menifield's minus 240, to be honest. Like, Menifield's not a guy you want to lay minus 240 on against anybody unless he's facing like Fabio Chiron. And on top of that, Menifield's 37. His last 2 fights, he's looked rough. I know he fought some good like Carlos Olberg and Mirzakana, but he looked rough in both those fights. Julius Walker taking a big step up in competition. He's big for the division. He can wrestle. He can get fights down to the ground. I think it's a great matchup for Alonzo Menifield stylistically in terms of he should be able to stuff the takedowns and be the much better striker and get the knockout. But something seems off with Menifield. He looked different. He looked different at weigh-ins today. Like, he looked. I think that's the worst we've ever seen Menifield look. Still looked in incredible shape, don't get me wrong, but typically he shows up in incredible shape, like the best shape, right? So, but he didn't today. He looked to be in the worst shape of his career, which is interesting. So, yeah, don't lay minus 240 on Menifield. If anything, take a look at the Menifield KO prop. It's plus 150, but I'm gonna be maybe looking at the under, maybe, but I might just pass on this one. Gene Silva, Milsic, Bagdasarian. I know you guys are sick of hearing me saying pass, but I actually have bets here. I actually have a bet on this fight. So I like the over 1.5. It's minus 175, minus 180. But what I like even more are these Silva 2-3 props. They're not the best prices, but it's kind of how I'm seeing the fight play out. I think early on, when Milsic's fresh, I think it's going to be a competitive fight, right? But I think the power, the craziness, the willingness, the BJJ, Silva's gonna get to this guy, right? Like as the fight goes on, I think Milsic's gonna kind of crumble here. We saw Milsic really slow down in the Contender Series fight he had against Dennis Bazukia. We saw him get club and subbed by Josh Kulabau easily, right? I think if Silva grapples here, he can sub him easily, but I do think he's gonna kind of stand and bang, push the pace. I think Milsic's going to slow down, and I think Silva's going to catch him in the second or third round. So I have a half a unit on Silva round 2 and round 3. Round 2, I got it plus 410. It's now plus 430. And then round 3, it's plus 700. I think Silva breaks this guy later in the fight. Moving on, we got Gene Matsumoto going against Rob Font. Yeah, when I taped this fight on Sunday, I kind of went back and forth. I know Rob Font's a very popular dog this week, and I can see it. Like, if this fight plays out on the feet for 15 minutes, Rob Font should win handedly as long as his durability holds up. But if Gene Matsumoto grapples here, like, Gene Matsumoto could look like a big favorite. Rob Font's takedown defense is sub 50%, and although Matsumoto's not the best wrestler, like, he could probably still take down Font, right? And, like, anytime we've seen Font on his back at this stage of his career, it's been bad. Corey Sandhagen took him down and controlled him for 20 minutes. Kyler Phillips waxed him on the mat until he gassed out. So, Gene Matsumoto's a good grappler, PJJ black belt. I think if Matsumoto comes in here with the right game plan, I think he wins this fight, but he has taken this fight on short notice here. Minus 170. It seems about right to me. If not, maybe a tad wide here, to be honest, because Rob Font, I do think is gonna have the striking advantage, the volume, the jab. I think can really give Matsumoto some problems, but I do think Matsumoto has like a clear path here with the grappling. It's just up to him to take it. At minus 170, I think it's about right. If not, just a tad wide. Could see maybe some value on Font, but I'm not touching this fight. Anthony Hernandez going against Brendan Allen. We got Hernandez minus 315, Allen plus 265. I'm going to be looking to live bet Hernandez. Minus 315, it seems a little bit too disrespectful to Brendan Allen, but I think that just goes to show you what like everybody thinks about Hernandez. I'm not picking against Hernandez anytime soon. I'm not here. So yeah, maybe a live bet. I don't know. I have a weird feeling about this fight though. Like, I don't know. I feel like we're all just counting out Brendan Allen, which is scary because Allen's good. Allen's very good. Allen's improved so much. The striking's very good. The grappling's always been very dangerous. So I'm picking Fluffy, but I just can't. I can't lay this price tag. I'm going to look to get a live entry potentially. And then finally, we got Song Yadong going against Henry Cejudo. So I played they have the same game parlays. I played the Song Yadong and the over 2.5 same game parlay. Came out to -134. I have 1.5 units on it. If you don't have access to that, which a couple books do, I know Bet365 does, BetRivers does, Draftkings does, the fighter and the over. But if you don't have access to that, they have the 4-5 decision. I think the 4-5 decision for Song was like -110. I think that's also a good look as well. But I think this fight gets extended, if not goes the full 25 minutes. I think that if this was the Henry Cejudo of 2019, I'd bet him here. I'd bet him at +225, no doubt. But the fact of the matter is he's an undersized bantamweight at 38 years old. Took that retirement, that 3 years off. I think that hurt him. He's lost to two great fighters in Sterling and Merab, but I think Song has all the tools to win this fight. The volume on the feet, the power on the feet, the striking in general, the takedown defense is good. The get-up game's elite. I think this fight primarily plays out on the feet. I like Song here to get it done. Potentially a late finish, but I think it's a Song decision here. So I'm on Song over 2.5 rounds. -134 for 1.5 units. There you guys have it. Not a ton to talk about. I hate this card. I know some people get really mad when I say that, but that I hate this card from a betting perspective. But we get like 40 some cards a year. I mean, some cards you'll like, some cards you won't. I just don't love this card. This card's sketching me out, man. A lot of sketchy fights. But yeah. I have 1.5 units on the Song in the over 2.5 same game parlay, -134. Half a unit on Gene Silva round 2 +410. Half a unit on Gene Silva round 3 +700. And then we got the disgusting bets. McConico round 3 or decision, half a unit +500. Cerqueira wins in round 1 or round 2, half a unit +480. What is that? 3.5 units, 5 bets. And then I'm also going to probably add a parlay. And if I do, I'll pin it down in the comments. I'm probably gonna take a sleep. I'm so tired. Take a sleep, see where the lines are at, and then probably cook up a parlay. I like a violence parlay. I like some sort of violence in the Oson Cutelaba fight, and then some sort of violence in the Abdul-Malik Klein fight. Might put together like a 2-leg parlay, something like that. And then maybe something in the Menifield fight, maybe, but probably not. Maybe though. We'll see. So yeah, should be an interesting one. I'm keeping it light. Best of luck to everybody that is attacking this card heavily. Some of these fights, man, I don't know. But yeah, should be a fun card nonetheless. Do me a favor on the way out, like the video, subscribe to the channel, be on the lookout for Best Bet. Going live for Best Bet either 4 or 5 o'clock Eastern time on Saturday. We'll figure out a time and I'll schedule it as soon as possible. Be on the lookout for Best Bet. And then, yeah, we got some good cards coming up. We got, we're in the Apex next week. I already looked into that card a little bit. Loving next week a lot better from a betting perspective. We got UFC 313 coming up. UFC Miami in a month or two. So, yeah, we got some good fights coming up. Best of luck, everybody, for UFC Seattle, and we'll talk to you soon. See ya.